Something really weird happened to me about 5 months ago in May 2025. I lost the ability to taste ice cream. Ice cream has played such a large role in my life for so long, and it was such a strange thing to not be able to taste it anymore. Well, it's kind of gone from 90, 100% being able to taste it down to like 5%, 10% max. I just can't taste it. I don't know what's going on. It's like when your tongue gets really numb from being cold. I get that from the get-go. I love yogurt though. Yogurt all of a sudden has become amazing. And a lot's happened since May, both internally and then that just kind of reflects on the outside externally. And so I think I'm going to start sharing some of that publicly for two reasons. Probably the selfish reasons, the main one. There's a cathartic thing why people talk to phones, to cameras like this and then put it out on the internet. And then you'll get a few people saying, what a wanker and all the rest of it. But then you get some that are like, wow, you're so brave for sharing a story. And honestly, I think as humans, we like that feedback. We like the ego tickle because people say, cool video. We get really distraught when people attack us in the comments as well. But yet we still do it. And here I am doing it. But there's a cathartic nature to it. But also the hope is also that it might help someone else, because I think there's just so many people who identify with my sort of lifelong habits for 40 years of binge eating and being out of control and just having a sense of abandon. When you're happy, you binge eat. When you're sad, you binge eat. When you feel guilty, you binge eat. When you feel proud of yourself, you binge eat. When you've dieted well, you binge eat. It's just like the emotional outlet and response. And for me, it was ice cream. That's just what we do. And, I've got a friend of mine who told me a funny story the other day. Their kid came to them and said, "Hey, Mum, where's the whipped cream? The spray whipped cream in a can. It's normally in the fridge, right?" And she said to her kid, "It's on my bedside table." I thought, I identify with that so well. I know what it's like to eat KFC, 15 pieces on my own in bed before waking up, because my brother went and bought it for me. I know what it's like to eat 25 or 30 Magnums in one sitting over a couple of hours. I know what it's like to eat a family feast on the way home and then hide it from my family and have to eat the dinner that my wife's cooked for me on top of the family feast from KFC I've already eaten, and just pretend like everything's okay, but I feel absolutely sick. There's so many of us who have these gluttony and eating disorders. We're not anorexic, we're not skinny. Well, I'm skinnier than I used to be, but we've got it on the other end in obesity, and we tell ourselves stories about being big boned or having a hormonal issue and whatever. The reality is, of course, we eat too much food, and we know that we shouldn't, and we know how to lose weight. But it's when you're that trapped, when you're that dependent on coping mechanisms to anesthetize yourself with food, it's just pointless to tell someone like us stop eating or it's easy to lose weight. And the truth is, it is exceptionally easy to lose weight. Exceptionally easy. I'm what am I now? I don't know what I weigh now. I'm, in some massive 33% deficit with no cheat days for 6 months because I don't need them. So once you crack the code, it's absolutely extremely easy. But it's also absolutely impossible. And anyone who's watching who's stuck, like I was for so many decades, they know what I'm saying. They know how I feel. It's impossible to not eat that thing that's keeping us stuck. So anyway, I am just going to start telling my story bit by bit, week by week, month by month. And I guess as I get braver and braver, I'll actually show you my abs, which I didn't think were possible for someone with my Maori fat genes. I met someone the other day was a while ago now, and they said, have you always been really lean and fit? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Maybe I need to show you a picture of me walking with a cane at 49% body fat, 150 kilos. Couldn't even stand on an escalator because my sense of balance was all screwed up. Anyway, if that's you and you're feeling stuck, hey, my channel's mostly about interviews and all this other stuff and farming lately. But, I'm going to start sharing some of this story. So I hope you enjoy and come along for the ride, because you don't have to remain stuck. The gap between being absolutely out of control and being absolutely free is like a chasm that we think we cannot cross. I could never be skinny. I could never be in control. I could never be free from gluttony and binge eating. But the reality is the gap is like so tiny, so tiny. I wish someone told me how small that gap was. The level of internal change from a fat person to a skinny person in the head, which then reflects on the body, is so tiny. And for years, I thought it was so far away. I'll work out how to tell my story, and I'll keep telling it.